Are the beings interested in our souls? What's up with that famous Bob Lazar quote talking about containers? Our bodies are containers. What's that all about? Well, let's discuss. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, somebody was asking you this morning about the famous Bob Lazar quote where he was talking about the briefing material that he was provided, where humans were described as containers. These beings, that's how the briefing material would have it, that these beings refer to us as our bodies are containers. Containers of what? Well, we don't know exactly, but let's listen to what Bob has to say in this interview with George Knapp. The sound isn't great. It's not quite synced up with his lips, but let's give it a shot.
Autopsy. No, that wasn't the last subject.
I want to go back to the religion thing. I want you to say it.
Oh, come on, that's so weird. That's a lot.
I'm not asking you to say what you believe to be a fact. I'm asking you to say what you read in a report that that is distributed at what may be the most top secret facility in the world. Okay. All right.
All right, I'll say it. It's so far out.
All right, your objection has been noted.
Okay.
What does it say?
That we're containers. That's how supposedly the aliens look at us. That we are nothing but containers.
Containers of?
Containers. Maybe containers of souls. You can come up with whatever theory you want, but we're containers, and that's how we're mentioned in the documents. That religion was specifically created so we have some rules and regulations for the sole purpose of not damaging the containers.
The souls? Meaning,
well, the souls or the bodies, or whatever. That's
meaning like we're containers for souls that they're going to use at some other point.
Right.
And that they had something to do with different prophets and biblical figures.
Yes.
Like what?
Well, that supposedly Jesus and two other beings were genetically engineered. They were implanted in people on Earth in biblical times, and their births were closely monitored. Now, just some little connections to that my wife had brought up were in the Bible. They said that the star had followed Mary wherever she went, and that all UFO sightings always start out as people, well, gee, that looks...
Okay, so there you go. That's what Bob had to say about the briefing material he was provided at S4 about how, yeah, we're containers. Are we containers of souls? Are the beings interested in our souls? Well, yeah, according to many experiencers, or some experiencers, I would say, most experiencers talk about the hybridization program and that sort of thing. But there is definitely a subset of experiencers of alien abduction, the phenomenon, that do talk about how the beings are interested in their souls, which is really, really weird. I asked Grok about it. Grok could only pull up some famous, accounts, not the deep dive into, everyday experiencers of this phenomenon. But yeah, Willie Strieber, soul connection and communion. Strieber writes, I had the sense that they were somehow interested in my soul, that they were trying to assess something deeper than my body or even my memories. He later speculated in interviews that the aliens might be soul hunters or entities trying to understand human consciousness as a distinct phenomenon. One specific moment involved a being staring into his eyes, which he described as feeling like they were reaching into me, into something eternal. Really interesting. Of course, Betty Andreasen, soul connection. Betty reported that the beings told her telepathically, we are interested in your light. She interpreted this light as her soul or spiritual essence. Travis Walton. In a 1990s interview, Walton described a moment where the taller beings stared at him intently, and he felt a mental pressure as if they were looking through me, into something deeper than my thoughts. He didn't use the word soul explicitly, but later wrote in an updated edition of his book that he wondered if they were trying to measure my spirit or life force. Mack's abductee, Karen, Soul Connection. Karen told Mack that the being said, "You have a spark we do not understand," and seemed fascinated by her emotional responses to their questions. She felt they were trying to pull at something inside me, like my soul or my energy. She described a sensation of them testing her inner self, as if they were studying its composition or resilience. David Jacobs, abductee Susan. Susan reported to Jacobs that the beings communicated, "We need to know what holds you together," which she interpreted as an inquiry into her soul or life essence. She felt they were trying to extract or copy something non-physical from her, leading Jacobs to hypothesize that aliens might be studying human consciousness for their hybrid programs. So yeah, those are some of the more famous examples of this phenomenon, but there's many others of experiencers who do say that the beings are interested in their souls, and there's various processes or experiments or whatever that they undergo. So is what Bob Lazar, is the briefing material that he was given correct? Well, maybe, maybe not. He says that the world religions, or some of them, were created to keep us from killing each other, to protect our containers. Well, that hasn't worked. Our religions have been the cause of wars. They don't typically stop wars, they start wars. So that was an epic fail on the being's part, if that's what they were trying to do. So if they were trying to do that, they probably should have instituted some sort of one world religion instead of a bunch of different ones that are at odds with each other and that conflict with each other and require war with each other, or they can be interpreted that way. So yeah, I don't think the beings did that. As far as them creating Jesus and other religious figures, genetically or something like that, I tend to doubt it. My own research into Jesus through near-death experiences, before I had been a non-believer in Jesus, or if I, thought about him at all, I thought maybe he was a cult leader, a few thousand years ago, and that's about all there was to it. But then I researched near-death experiences, and I came across many non-Christians that were seeing Jesus on the other side. And that made me really curious about Jesus. And I thought, well, maybe I need to research this. Sounds like an interesting rabbit hole to go down. I'm going down all these other rabbit holes. Why not the Jesus rabbit hole? And but I didn't want to go to the Bible. I didn't want to study the dogma or the religion. I wanted to see if there was something else out there, some other research I could get. And I found Jesus and the Essenes in its sequel, They Walk with Jesus by Dolores Cannon, where three different people are relating past lives where they met with Jesus. They knew Jesus. One was his teacher in the Torah. One just met him one time. One was a follower of his for a brief time. And, what you get from those is this kind of trippy, new agey vision of Jesus, where he's not necessarily the savior of humanity. He's actually the prophesied great teacher of Atlantis. He's an ascended master or something like that. And, going into the next ayahuasca retreat that I went to, I was resonating with that vision of Jesus, and I had an experience. And, I had some sort of connection, apparently. And I asked for a sign that this was real, because it was very, very powerful. And it was so powerful, I expected him just to pop out in the middle of the ceremony and wave at me. I say, "Hey, Jack, I'm here." That didn't happen. That'd be cool if it did. Maybe next time. But it did feel like a real powerful connection. Now, I don't even know if he was aware of me, if it was a real thing, but I was aware of him. I could feel this weight on the other side. It was really, really cool. And so I asked for a sign if this was real. And a month later, as I'm driving down the road, a UFO makes the sign of the cross in the sky. Perfectly sober. And yeah, UFO made the sign of the cross. I go back home, my mind is reeling. I go in the backyard and ask for a sign that that just happened. And I got another UFO, a big bright white light in the sky that just slowly came on and slowly went off. And so I got a confirmation of the confirmation that this connection I felt was real or something. I still don't know what it means, but somebody was telling me something. I don't know what it was. What were those lights that I saw in the sky? Don't know. I've met a couple of experiencers that say that the beings they are interacting with, the lights they are seeing in the sky, are actually their spirit guides. Now, if that means, those are other dimensional beings that are very bright, or, they can manifest as bright white lights, or if that means they're aliens or other dimensional beings or running around in the sky in a vehicle, I don't know. But that'd be pretty cool, though. That means you could hitch a ride in a UFO with your spirit guide. That'd be pretty sweet. That'd be pretty sweet, guys. I'm not lying. Yeah, so it's all trippy and weird. I don't think that Jesus was genetically created, and like I say, or Buddha or any of the others. And like I say, if these beings were trying to prevent us from killing ourselves by creating religions, they did a terrible job. Epic fail, guys. Epic fail. So I think this briefing document that Bob Lazar was given was likely disinformation, which would make sense if they're trying to trace leaks. You want to know who's spreading what information, you give them different information. And so maybe that was his information. Or maybe there is something to the idea that we are containers and that the beings see us as such. Could it be spiritual containers? Yeah, absolutely. It could be. It could also be genetic containers. They are very interested in our DNA. They create hybrids. They create many, many hybrids. And judging by the Nazca mummies, they've been doing it for a long time. And maybe much longer than that, maybe we are hybrids as well. Deep Prasad, the quantum computer guru, who had his really interesting experience where this UFO was superimposed over the space that he was in, and he had this download. Well, the only intelligible thing that he got out of the download was the words DNA, or the letters DNA. So that was a very important thing that the beings were trying to get across to him. So yeah, it could be souls, it could be DNA, could be something else, or it could be disinformation. But let me know what you guys think about it all in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, links below, and Rumble. Don't forget to Rumble. Yeah, buy a book, buy a t-shirt, become a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.